post it in the chat and then we'll get started.
Alright, let me post it in the chat and we should be good.
Should have told my family to leave me alone.
It's posted. I can change the name of it real quick, but it's posted.
Okay. I'm gonna. All right, you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Rose Show Football Network podcast. The first episode is just going to be introduction to the league itself. And to get things started, we have the founder and main commissioner of the league, Ro himself, and he's just going to spend a couple minutes talking about why he founded the league, what he enjoys the most of it, and whatever else he wants to talk about. And then after that, we're just going to take a time, all four of us, and we're going to go through the history of the league. But before he gets started talking, we should introduce the host. I'm Raven. I'm a 7-time champion in the league and have been here since Madden 18.
You got Trailboy Twan, 9-time champion, and joined the league in Madden 21.
And I'm Ill Will, the most hated and debated, and the host of the Daily Child podcast. And I've been here since the end of Madden 21.
All right, Ro, you want to take it away?
All right, so I'm Ro. I'm the founder. Well, I guess I'm like the co-founder. I'm the actual founder of the part of the league where we took it from just a friend league. This league started Madden 15. A group of 8 guys, all of us friends. We've probably been playing. Oh man, we had probably been playing games together since maybe 2010, 2011. This was back Xbox 360 days. So we've been playing everything together. One of our homeboys, Lowland Goonie, RIP to Joe Sorno, he actually started the Madden League. None of us were interested in doing anything as far as a franchise type of thing. What we did was every day we were on the game, we were playing against each other, and we were just talking shit all day. That's all we did. Everything we played against each other, and it was just to talk shit. Like it was no anything. So he had been like banging on us about let me say pause about about doing this franchise thing, and nobody wanted to do this shit. Like nobody was interested in it. So Madden 15, he just does it. He sends invites and it's like, join this thing, join it. So us being naive and not understanding about it, we joined. He talked shit to us, made us start playing. Everyone picked their favorite team. And it was cool. You know, the first year, it was cool. But we tried to get more people 2016 because obviously it's only like 8 of us. And so there's so many fucking computer games. Nobody wants to play fucking computer. So we were like, fuck, like, you know, how are we gonna do it? Because now we're kind of hooked on it a little bit, you know, because like you're running your team, like the shit was pretty dope. So 2016, we kind of branched out a little bit, and we invited friends of friends. So we were like our core 8 people like no bullshit, because of how hard we played and how often we played. Like anybody that we invited outside of us, they would fucking quit because we were smashed. And
I think we might have lost Ro
We might have
there.
lost- we might
Are
have
you
lost
back,
him.
Ro?
then in those days, if you guys played Madden, it was more about what you knew about football and less about knowing the intricacies of the actual video game.
The cheese.
Man, so because of that, like we were really good. And so dudes will always quit. Dudes will always quit. So 2016, 2017, that's kind of what we dealt with. Um, Madden 2017, Goonie started getting sick, and so he wasn't playing. Like the sickness that he had, he really wasn't able to play the video games anymore. He was losing his eyesight. And so because of that, I kind of took over, because at this point, like we fucking with the franchise shit tough now. We all into it. So I took over. When I took over, me and still see, we lost a couple of other guys at this point too. So at that moment, it might have been 5 of us, maybe 6. Um, and so me, my background, I worked for like Boys Club as a shorty. Like I worked for the Boys Club, so I was good at like uh, tournaments, like creating tournaments and doing shit like that.
Right.
And
He was
so
all organized.
yeah, so nobody else really wanted to keep it going once Goonie couldn't do it. And so I didn't have an issue with it. Goonie just walked me through shit that I needed to know. And then after that, I kind of just kind of, just figured out, by playing with it, the other shit I needed to do. I ran across like how I could edit players. Um, Now, I think during that time, I had to actually create the draft classes. I don't think it was the download center. I don't think it was a thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, how long did it take
But
you?
one of those years, I actually had to create like 2 or 3 like the whole classes. Um, I don't know which Madden that is. Hell, that's been a while ago now. But um, I started figuring out some shit to do. Um, and so I want to say 2018 Madden. It was either 2018 or 2019. I started reaching outside of like friend groups and stuff like that, and started inviting people that I didn't know, because I felt good about the the way I had a vision of how I wanted the league to go. And I felt good about what I felt like I could do. I talked to the guys that were still a part of the league, and they were gonna rock with me with this. And so that's kind of how we just ended up where we are now. I started reaching out. I was like finding Madden groups on Facebook, Twitter. Like back in the day, Xbox had out like these groups that you could join, like if you play whatever game. So I joined these like Madden groups on Xbox. Um, I was reaching out. I would meet people, and then they would like bring their friends on, and from there is kind of where we are now. Obviously, with a lot of the things that I've implemented and done for the league, it's been hit or miss. It's been a lot of trial and error. Um, but I feel good like where the league is right now. We have a real strong core of, oh my God, I don't know, like what shit. I can't call everybody in the league the core, but hell, I know we at least got 15 guys that are probably going to rock with us until the wheels fall off. And I mean, just my vision of it, I don't think the wheels are gonna ever fall off. I think when I'm long done playing video games, I think that I'm gonna be able to leave the name in this league, with some people that are gonna keep it going and keep everything just the way it is right now. So, you know, yeah, my vision is for this thing to go on forever, like it'd be a everlasting thing that I created. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously we do a lot of unorthodox things. I boost players. I do shit I do a lot of shit to help guys that are not really good at Madden anymore with all the shit that it is now. Um, yeah, I do a lot of shit that's just extra, and I'm just grateful that the guys that we've gotten to join the league, like they see this, they're cool with it, they kind of understand what I'm doing with it, because I can only imagine like a situation where people would be like, "Fuck this fantasy bullshit ass shit." You know what I'm saying?
But I think
You
that's
know,
what makes part of the product great, Rose. I mean, like the 72-hour advance and just the stuff that you do to show the effort and the lead. I think that's what's kept it running for so long. And I mean, shoot, we know for somebody that was formerly in the lead, he stole a lot of your ideas in his own lead. So
mm,
Mhm.
that is true. I've definitely had guys to join over the years, and they use things that they see us do, and they try and do a league also. So I think that's some people would be upset about that. I mean, for me, it's like it's flattering the fact that we're doing something that other people want to mimic. You know,
Mhm.
so I don't get upset about that type of thing at all.
yeah,
I know
and
I'm leaving out some stuff.
no, I
I
think
know
you're
I'm.
crushing it. I mean, I would say too, like Will and Trill could probably back me up on this. Is I feel like we have one of the most competitive leads as well, not just the most consistent lead. Because many of the users in our lead that probably finish right outside the playoffs or even as a wild card team and lose, they would go into other leads and they kill anybody. They would just win the Super Bowl in those leads, and we've seen that with some people in our lead as well. So
Mhm. I think the league is just diverse. It's a lot. You got the top guys. You got the middle guys that can compete with the top guys. Then you got
we'll,
the you got the
we'll,
you got the lower tier guys.
we'll be talking about that later. So,
Mhm.
Um, I have a
but
question that I'm curious. I'm curious for like Ill Will because I know Willie hasn't been here as long, and Willie's been through some things within this league, and he's still rocking. And so my question is for like Willie, and this is something that I've always been curious about. Just really hadn't had a chance for us to really just chop it up about it. But what is it about the league for you, Willie, that's kept you here through the things that you've been through, and I mean, because when you first came in, me and you butted heads like hell, you know.
you
Hell,
paved the road to let him stay.
man, like I'm just curious, like what is it about the league? Because I think you even ran the league yourself when you first joined, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right.
And so, what is it that's kept you around?
Well, the main thing for me is I'm always looking for competition, and I feel like there's obviously there's one guy at the top of the list that is a thorn in everybody's side. But I like the competition and I like the community that this league provides. This is something that I've been telling my guys in the league that I was running. And it's crazy to hear you talk about how you guys started, how you said it was just, like 80 you guys. And that's how it was with my league. Like we have our core group of guys, and every time we invite people, they can't hack it because either we're bringing them in too late to the franchise, stuff like that, and then
Mhm.
they just fall out. And but my guys would never want to branch out to a full league, and then they started to, but they're still kind of slow to it. But I'm always looking for a competition, man. That's what I'm really seeking, and it's here.
Okay. Okay. That's cool.
And I ain't
That
no,
is
and I'm not
cool.
a quitter. You know what I'm saying? Like I ball. You know what I mean? Like I'll take my penalties. I mean, I've been in other leagues where dudes would take your best player and make you cut them and stuff like that. You know, and still think like, listen, I'm a ball through whatever.
No, that's real. That's real. And see, it's people like you, and like it's just I'm proud of the fact that someone like you. Well, let me back up. I'm most proud about what I lead because one of the things I didn't mention is one of the other things that we wanted to do with this league is because once we really fell in love with the franchise thing and we wanted to branch out, everybody was running these 24-hour to 48-hour leagues.
Gosh,
And
it killed me.
Yeah.
oh my God, like there are too many guys that work or, just with life, like it's almost impossible a lot of times to get a fucking Madden game in 24 to 48 hours. And so I don't know if Raven came in on the tail end of this or not, but we were running this league every 5 days. Like this was a every 5 day league.
Whoa.
Yes, it was every 5 days. So you had a week to get your game played, and this lasted for a couple of years.
I did come in the tail end of that. I feel like most time though we got through everything in 4 days, sometimes 3, but I'd say 4 days for the most. But when I joined, there was only like 20 of us in the league, maybe, and a lot of
hmm
that's changed over time, obviously, because I joined I joined the last season of Madden 18, so.
So yeah, it was. So we started at 5, we went to 4. Now obviously, games were played, within that 5 days. So it was very rare. Only like during holidays, maybe where it took the whole 5 days for games to get played. But we went from 5 to 4, and then you guys pretty much voted on the format where we are now, which is 3. I think it was a vote, or did my commissioners just say it was just best to do this 3? I can't remember, Raven, how we got to 3.
It might have been a conversation that you Wood and I had, because I know after my first season, the last season of Madden 18, that's when you reach out to me and you're like, hey, you seem like you're pretty passionate about this and you actually know what you're doing compared to some of these other guys. And then that's when you kind of just asked me, like, I'd love to have you join us and kind of help to run the lead a little bit. And that's when I became a co-commissioner. So I think.
Hey, go ahead, because I got a funny story. Go ahead.
I think I know what you're about to say. And then Madden 19, that's when I came on full time. And at the end of Madden 18, you kind of screwed me over because I was gonna win the Super Bowl, but you forced the win the wrong way after I
Oh
made
my
the
God, I
So,
did.
but I think I know
That
what you're
was
gonna
the
say. Rofi
yeah,
was
that was
blocked for
the
a whole year.
oh my God, I thought Raven was black for like a whole year. Like I thought Raven was black.
I was like, I'm about to start college.
Hey.
And he was like, good job, Black King. And I was like, how do I break it to him,
He was,
Had to let him
hey,
know.
oh my God, that shit was so funny because I was like, oh wow. I'm like, damn. I'm like, okay. So now I gotta tell my brothers that I'm letting this white kid be the commissioner of our team. And then I'm like, oh shit. Then I'm hoping he doesn't feel some type of way because I thought he was black this entire time. Yeah.
It gave me a good laugh. I was just like, I appreciate it, but just as a heads up, like I tried to be respectful about it because I was like, I might be walking on eggshells here, like don't want to come off the wrong way, but. And no, I enjoyed the Madden 19. I think this is a good way we can start going through the Madden, just going through the lead history. I don't really remember much of Madden 19, because I just joined at the end of 18. I was still, getting through high school. I helped out where needed, but I don't remember much from that Madden. I do know I won 2 rings. I don't remember against who. But Madden 20 is probably when I started taking things more seriously. Still not most of the guys in the league were here today, so there's a lot of jokes. I won my rings have asterisks beside them. They're the Atari rings. They're the old school rings. But Madden 20, I won 3 of the 4 seasons. Insane, Mr. Hoops. A person that's been in and out of the league, but he's been in the league for the past 2 or 3 Maddens, I believe. I think he had a 1-year break, but he won a ring.
Yeah,
But Madden 21 is when things started to really pick up in the league big time, and that's when the competition started to increase. So Madden 21 is when my run came to an end in terms of like my dynasty. And this year, 07, 8, 9, Jeff, he says he's Jeff number 1, but I think he's Jeff number 3 of all the 3 Jeffs in the lead. He won 3 of the 5 rings that Madden. I won 1, and then Sniper won 1, but I believe that's the Madden you came in too, Trill, right?
I joined the year that the second time Jeff beat Mike, so I joined. That was my first year. So
Yeah.
the second year I made the bowl and then lost.
Okay, yeah, I see that because you lost the mic when Desmond King was Super Bowl MVP, and that was also the last time Rowe was actually pretty good at the game.
Yeah, man.
That was
Packers, man.
Yeah.
I think
Even before them Super Packers now. Don't get it twisted. I was on the game like that back then. So yeah.
the Super Packers, I think he gave up an average of like 17 points a game. Like, that defense was nuts.
My defense was crazy. That was the last time I really was competitive. And yeah.
And I remember when Trill joined, I think I beat him in one of his first couple games because he had the Lions, and I was like, yeah, this guy's going to be pretty good. And barely squeaked past him, and he was just playing with a team.
I feel like the Trill did not beat you.
You did. You was my first game that I played with against you.
Oh.
And you beat me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit.
Was cooking back.
Trill, see, Willie Trill was a punching bag at one point in time.
That wasn't a punching bag. I wasn't a punching bag. That's crazy. I wasn't a punching bag.
It wasn't the top cat, but it was
a good warm up. I was a warm up, man. I wasn't no punching bag.
Okay.
And then did you join Madden 22, or did you join 21 as well?
I joined at the end of 21 because I remember Jeff number 3 having the Cowboys and running things with Dak.
Oh, yeah.
That Dak team was nuts, for sure.
Now, your brother brought you in?
Yeah.
Okay. That's one of the things, too, that I really like about our community. Not only our league, but our community. Like, and that's what, I mean, obviously you guys know how I feel about family. That's a big thing to me. And so the fact that, somebody is connected with somebody somehow, throughout our 30 members.
And like on top of that, I think it's kind of funny that I didn't bring them in, but I played with Byron and Trey Dean in another league like a couple years before they joined this one. And when they joined, I was like, am I seeing things right? Like, I had to double check those gamer tags because I was like, I know I recognize them. So
yeah, that's pretty dope, man.
Now, hey, while we got Ro here, y'all ready for a bombshell? This is a surprise to the podcast.
Okay.
What's up, man?
So when we talk about family, M-Boy is my son.
Who's your son?
M-Boy.
I had a theory.
I was like, yeah, I knew they were related somehow, but I wasn't completely sure. So
yeah, that's my oldest boy right there.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are we talking about the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I was asking for you not to penalize him because it was my fault.
Okay. All right.
That's why I said take my playoff spot. Don't don't penalize him. Blah blah blah.
No, that's dope. That's
Yeah,
pretty
but so
dope.
yeah, so we got the whole fam. Well, we got the whole family. I had my youngest son. He joined the league once, but he couldn't hack it. Y'all was whooping his ass too
Really?
much.
Who was
Yeah,
that?
y'all was whooping my youngest too.
Who
Y'all was
was
beating him bad.
who
He
was
couldn't
he
hack
though?
it.
Who was he?
I've tried to get my
Man,
son to join. And he's watched me play a few times. My oldest son.
man.
He's like, I'm not fucking job.
Willie, what team was he?
Huh?
What team was? I was
What?
asking Willie what team was his youngest.
No. What your Willie's youngest?
Yeah. Who you one of them
I think
Yeah.
coaches?
he had came in and had the Vikings. That was last Madden, I think. He
When he
was.
was
I think
on
he
He
was one of
wasn't.
them people who had that revolving door. We had the Vikings.
yeah, we had a
So
lot of
before
Vikings. We
Yeah.
the
had a lot
five
of
wide
Vikings.
user.
Yeah, we had a lot of
He
It was
wasn't
Vikings.
after
five
the five
wide.
wide.
Was he?
No, it wasn't the five wide guy. Man.
It was after five wide.
Yeah, after we kicked him and we was looking for somebody,
Well, is that
and
the
y'all was whooping my
I
son
don't
ass too
what
much.
that Mister I don't pay bets? You talking about that nigga?
No,
Uh,
hell no.
making bets and ain't paying that nigga.
No, I forgot what his name. What the hell
I
was his
forgot that
Hey,
name?
nigga name too, man.
I remember that dude too, man. Y'all was on his neck about that shit.
Cause that was crazy.
Hey, that was crazy. So yeah, man, the league where we are right now. I think it's exceeded my vision. Um, and we're steady trying to make it like fun, like you know what I'm saying. Like we're steady trying to make it fun. We're steady, trying to come with ideas and things.
Yeah, I think it's
You
a
know,
good balance between like we have rules that are realistic enough and keep things fair for all users, but it's a very fun lead, and I think a big part of that is the effort you put in. Because how many leads out there is a commissioner going to take the time, specifically go through rosters, take into account like, okay, this guy's maybe not the greatest, maybe I should help him out a little bit, and then also doing a deep dive into the draft classes because I know like Rock gives you some input when the other users in the lead, but I know you take a lot of time. And you sit down and you watch some of the college film and you read up on the guys and like this guy's been having a strong season. Maybe I should up him up a little bit, or this guy didn't have the greatest season. Maybe I should like take
yeah,
him
they
down
take
a notch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I
so
think I think that falls back on just being taught as a youngster myself about trying to keep everything fair. Um, just making sure that you want to always keep everyone engaged. That was one of the big things. Like just you want to keep everyone engaged because I mean,
mhm.
obviously with anything, there are going to be people that are better than other people. You know what I'm saying? That's just life. But trying to make sure that everyone is engaged to some degree has really been, the thing that I really work toward doing. And so um, I feel good about that because we've got guys in the league that'll never win a Super Bowl. They'll never probably get to the playoffs, but they enjoy the community. They enjoy being a part of this league.
Family.
Yeah, like it really feels like a fan. Like, people can jump into the Discord and just talk about whatever, and so that's cool, man. And so I'm proud of that right there. And, I just really appreciate you guys. Even with this podcast, like the fact that you guys taking the time out of your days and your lives just to do this podcast, just on the behalf of the league and this brotherhood that we've all formed. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
beautiful, man. And so I really appreciate that. I really
Yeah,
do.
thank you. And just to keep
So
this on pace, I think we should just do a quick run through the rest of the Maddens after 22. And then before we move on to the next topic, there are a couple of things that some people throw in the chat that I think are worth mentioning now.
Mm-hmm.
So just running through the lead history, Madden 22 is when Mike started to take off with his Packers. And I know I had a big beef with him during that time.
Yeah.
just because I couldn't beat the guy. He drove me nuts. I couldn't beat him. Also, that Madden, Byron completed the real life Buffalo Bills challenge, losing 3 in a row. Madden 23 is when Trill started to take off, and he had his little dynasty. Mike won that Madden as well. Madden 24, last Madden, that was the Dark Ages. So Mike won the first one, but then Trill won 4 in a row.
Dark Age.
Or 5 in a row.
Is that? Can we speak
4 in a row. What was that?
Dark Age is crazy.
Yeah, everybody was like, there's some people saying like it's gonna be the same matchup every year because it felt like it was just like you and Mike, you and Mike, you and Mike. Jeff made it 1 year, and then Madden 25. So a big change we made from Madden 25 is in the past it used to be whoever won the Super Bowl in the final season, they had the first pick. But starting in Madden 24, we implemented the point system. So you get a point for each win. You get so many points for making the wild card, and the points you earned also increase for each playoff game you won. And we tracked those over the course of all 5 seasons during Madden 24. And then for Madden 25, whoever had the most points had the first pick. And then whoever had the second most points had the second pick, but they had to go to another conference. So the conference just kind of went back and forth in the team selection. And this just kind of made the conferences both relatively fair. And I really want to credit Trill and Spaz for the idea of that. They were cooking with it. Can't even lie.
Yeah, man. We were trying to make a little change. We were just trying to make the league a little better. And if y'all willing to listen on it, then hey, let's see what we can do.
So then going into this Madden, it was a fresh matchup. It was me and Trey Dean, and I beat him in a good matchup. And then Trill did win the next 2, and Mike also won this last one. But I would say, even though it's the same guys winning the Super Bowl, I feel like the league's grown competitively as a whole. And there's much more games that are interesting in comparison to the past, where it might have felt at times were like a little meaningless in some weeks. I don't want to say I didn't personally feel that, but I know there are some users that felt that way.
I feel that some games now, man, they be a little. You already know what the result's gonna be. I'll just leave it at that. Some games you just know what's gonna happen. But
yeah,
it's a lot different though. It used to be like that all the time. Like in Madden 24, it used to be that a lot, but now it's not as much. It's kind of more focused on the user now compared to what team you got.
Yeah, and I think another big change for that too is we used to be on Sim for our gameplay, and we switched to Comp this year. And I think that was a positive change. Is I personally feel like it's more user dependent each game. I mean, obviously abilities and the team plays a big factor into it, but not as much as it did in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely think we're going to stay. I think we're going to stay where we are. I like the fact that if nothing else, mentally guys feel like they have a chance now. There were a lot of guys that just felt like simulation was a big part of why we only had a couple of guys winning. So, if for no other reason, just the fact that mentally guys feel like they have a chance now, I'm cool with it. So,
Right.
I think we're gonna stay a comp league for the foreseeable future.
Because I feel like on Comp this year, I'd say at least 70% of the playoff games are almost one score or relatively close. Whereas in the past, there was many blowouts. So I think that's been a great change for the league.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So I know we were going to wait until later in the show to talk about some of the things the audience mentioned. But I think the stuff that has been mentioned so far is worth mentioning while Ro's still here. So Red, one of the users in the lead, first of all, he called you super old, Ro. He said you were born in the 1930s. But he wants to know when the trash teams can start grandfathering because he really wants to grandfather the Saints.
Well, the grandfather thing actually is preserved for the guys that were here from day one. And I think it's obvious why that's the case. Those guys are kind of founders of the league also. Um, we did this to play with our teams, and so it just was only right that they were able to be grandfathered. So I don't see us just allowing anyone to, grandfather in with a team. I mean, how many? What we have now? Four grandfathers.
So you and Wood rotate the Steelers. Bezo has the
And
Titans,
Westall got there. I think it's just 3.
the
What's got
Raiders.
the Raiders?
Hustle used
All
to have
right,
the
so
Lions, but Hustle's no longer the lead. And then I was grandfather for the Ravens, but I think I gave up that grandfather. Madden 22, I think is when I gave it up. I mean, I was peer pressured by the lead, but
you
I
you
do.
definitely had an opportunity. Yes.
Yeah, you had
But
to change.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. And I think it kind of worked out if we look at it in today. I mean, obviously, if the Ravens are there, even if they're the worst team, I'm going to pick them. But given the fact that they're probably one of the best, if not the best team in the league, it's probably good that I'm that grandfather because I think that would make a lot of people upset.
Now, what guys didn't understand about why I gave you the opportunity to be grandfathered in is because a lot of these ideas and stuff, like a lot of the, because you're a lot younger, you your ears to the street, you know what I'm saying? Because you talk to a lot of the guys during those years, and so because of that, and all the work that you were doing to make things better for the league and to help the league. I just felt it was only right that you had the opportunity to be grandfathered with your favorite team also.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think I would have let those guys talk me out of that, but it's listen, it was cool that you felt like that it was something you wanted to do. Um, and it's obviously worked out for you. You seem to be having fun being able to still move around and not be locked into your team.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that was cool. But yeah, if anybody that didn't understand it, that was it. Like Raven did so much work for the league, being the young guy, in the commissioner seat. Because during those years, it was only me and Wood, and we're both older. And I'm absolutely not savvy tech at all. And Raven was just doing so many things for the league to, you know, catapult us to where we are now. So because of that, I had to do something to show him my gratitude. So that was one of the things that I wanted to do for him. But yeah, it ended up being a whole funny situation. So,
Yeah.
And Willie, do you want to mention the idea that your brother put in the chat?
Yeah, he wants to know if we can have a family tree to see how everybody was brought in.
Yeah, a Roadshow
oh,
coaching tree.
that would be dope. That would be dope. Uh, I mean, one of you guys would have to. I don't.
That'd
I'm
probably be
with it.
something. It'd probably be something where maybe we could put out like add to like one of our Google polls when we're getting like the off season schedule or something, and just be like, who brought you into the lead, and then we can ask the people that don't answer the poll. I feel like that's something we could easily get together. I feel like I do know that probably Jeff number 3 is probably brought in the most people. It's gonna be either him or Byron. I feel like so.
Oh shit! Yeah, I think you're right. Those guys definitely. Um, those guys probably have brought in the most people. Shit, I would have to look and see if any of the people that I was going out and searching for over those years are still with us right now.
I mean, you got me
Um,
from a group post, so I'm one.
I did. Yeah, I got Trill from one of those groups. I sure did. Um, I'm just looking right now just to see if there was anyone else other than Trill. Um,
Well, you talking about who Jeff brought in? What are you talking about?
He's just saying people from group post or whatnot that's still in the league.
Yeah,
I
that are
was
still
down,
here.
it was a long time ago.
It was. It was. That was a long time ago. Yeah, I only maybe you and did I find Jeff that way also? I don't know
Possibly.
if because
Maybe.
I don't know if anybody brought Jeff in.
I want to say Bayern brought him in, but I could be wrong about that. That's something we
Oh
had to ask.
no. The dude who had the Saints brought Jeff in.
T-Mac?
T-Mac?
C Mac. Yep. C Mac brought Jeff in.
And looking down, going down memory lane for all these pools.
Wow, yeah, C Mac brought him in. So yeah, man, it's crazy the amount of turnover we've had over the years too, man. And now how we're holding solid at 30 users. And we could I mean in all actuality, we could go to 32 and I think we would hold at 32 also, but
Don't
yeah,
tease
30.
the folks now, bro. They've been asking for that.
Don't say no. You're not willing to carry out, man.
No, I'm definitely not willing to go there. We're gonna stay at 30. We're definitely gonna stay at 30. But I'm just looking at the members list right now, and I'm just thinking like, we could definitely. I think we would be okay, but we're gonna stay at 30. We're absolutely gonna stay at 30.
We'll
But
table that
yeah,
conversation.
Yeah,
we'll take. Yeah,
we'll
I know we're gonna table it. I know it's gonna be brought back. I already know it. That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, man, just looking at this, yeah, everybody brought somebody in. Like everybody here now brought somebody in from another league or a family member or a friend or whatever the case might be. So this is dope. We should definitely do that family tree situation as to how everybody ended up a part of this thing. That's gonna be dope.
We'll have to track that down. But Ro, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us for the first podcast episode, and help give an introduction to the lead.
I really want to say I thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm about to tune in so I can listen to the rest of the show, man. You guys keep this up. Hopefully this podcast lasts as long as the league does. I really like this, man. So congratulations to you guys. Keep it up. Thank you for having me as the first guest. And yeah, let's keep this thing going.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bro.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one. Yes, sir. I'm gonna tune in right now.
Yes, sir. Shout out to our founding member, Mr. OG.
I know that segment went a little longer than we thought, but I think that was for the best, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was cool. That was definitely cool, but we was not expecting it to be that long. But hey, we'll take it though. Hey, we'll take it. I'm not even mad at it.
I mean, I feel like I kind of felt like the first episode was gonna be long in general, just because we gotta go through the lead, introduce things, and I mean, like, we really didn't even do a full deep dive. That we could have done, but I felt like that was a good in between intro. I don't know what you two think.
Nah, I like it, man.
No, that was great.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So
that was great.
Moving on to our next segment, we want to stick with talking about the lead, and we want to talk about the winners and losers of the road lead off season that we just had. And I want to get things started with talking about our first winners. And I honestly want to say that it's you, Ill Will, and now that we know, your son, M-Boy, the Cardinals. And I think this is just for multiple reasons. One, it's a fresh start for both of you. After last year, you two dealt with the penalties from your little scandal that you guys had, and you had to lose your first couple games of the season, but now you get to start the season fresh. And then for you in particular, Will, you hit big on the draft. I think you drafted, 5 traded players? And then on top of that, you got at Mickey's. So for those that don't know, a Mickey is a player that you get traded through the in-game training. So training camp or practices in the game, players can dev up. and you got that Anthony Richardson, your quarterback, and Nico Collins, your wide receiver. So I'd say you're a big winner this offseason.
Hey,
I would agree. I would agree.
man, how was you feeling when you got the Mickeys, man? What was you feeling like?
I felt happy because shit, Richardson, because of the scandal, had to get downgraded from X Factor to normal. Um, so we had to work our way back up to get him the star after last season. And then he finally got his Mickey opportunity. And then Nico, I'm glad he got his too. I don't know what the Texans were doing with him, but he regressed,
We'll
and
get to
and I'm just happy that he joined the Eagles, and a fresh start, and he feels like his old self.
Shit, I hope, man. You already got a good team, and now you got a couple Mickeys and some good rookies, man. You should be able to take it far this season, man. You should at least make your first conference championship, at least, which you should be going for.
Yeah, I could beat him in the conference championship. I think that's a good idea.
You think so?
That's the hope.
But I love that you brought up the Texans, Will. Trill, you want to talk about what the Texans and some others users did?
Yeah, let's talk about fucking the Texans, man. The Texans, man, I don't know what is in the Philly water. This nigga just didn't want to sign his player. This is a no salary cap league. I don't think we ever mentioned it, but it's a no salary cap league. So I have no clue how he can't get his players signed. So he lost what, CJ, and he lost
He ended up re-signing CJ back.
He got lucky and re-signed CJ.
But he lost Nico, Will Anderson, and I feel like there might have been one other guy, but I could be wrong.
But man, I don't know.
Still, that's part of his big core because he's never made any moves in any other offseason. So
his team not even that good in the first place. Like he hasn't really developed his team that well. And for him to lose his best players and only get CJ back, that's a devastating loss to an already mediocre team. So that's definitely one of the big losers of this offseason.
And he wasn't the only user that didn't resign his players.
Yeah. Willie, you want to speak on Detroit?
Oh man, just like Houston, I don't understand how Gibbs doesn't get re-signed in the non-salary cap league. Those are two major fumbles right there. I don't know what those organizations are thinking.
99 overall X Factor running back. One of the main reasons why you've been dominant as you have been the past couple seasons. That's just a big mess up right there.
Yes. Huge fumble.
I just want to know, like, in their mind, like, did they just forget to re-sign? They just thought, I didn't even know the mindset. Because that should be, like, one of the first things you do, kind of just be like, let me re-sign my people. But
18 weeks in the re-sign period.
Yeah, and you got playoffs. You could re-sign in playoffs, too. So it's just like, damn, what was you doing this whole time?
Yeah, there's no excuse for that.
And where did Gibbs go again? We want to talk about that?
We can get to that in a second. Let's jump back into the other winners of the offseason. Spaz with the Buffalo Bills and how he paired Ibuka with another traded wide receiver with Johnny Wilson. And crazy enough, he had an approved user trade for Sam Howell, but for some reason, Seattle dealt Sam Howell to the CPU, and we can't see the trade because of how many transactions them flew. But I want to commend him on how he got Howell, because I think from the only way I could, from my investigative reporting, it seems as though he sent a superstar kicker and a plethora of picks for Sam Howell. I don't know how he got that done, but he did. Hats off to him.
Especially with this being the last season, picks don't matter anymore.
He traded Greg Rousseau.
Okay, Greg Rousseau. That's who it was. Yeah.
No, but that was
That's a
But
definitely a
major
great.
move.
That was an elite pick. That was an elite pickup right there to get you a
Yes.
receiver and to get you a quarterback from the CPU, and you really ain't give up too much. So it's just like, damn, that's a great move, but it's on Spaz to capitalize off of it. But
Right.
but
Yeah.
he is two
Especially
and zero
for a guy
now.
whose moves get scrutinized.
Yeah, he 2-0 right now, so he might be paying off on his investments he made this off season.
Yeah, it's looking like it.
And so we want to get on to the Cincinnati fiasco. We want to get to that fiasco in Cincinnati.
Yeah, this guy wants to this guy Joey likes to go around and point the cheater finger at everybody, but he needs to point it at himself. I don't know what he was thinking in trying to sign Gibbs to paying Gibbs 100 million per season. It's uncalled for.
See, he's a
right, so
couple guys.
those unfamiliar with the league, you can only do the default very player friendly contracts. But to give the contract that he gave out to Gibbs, he had to do a custom and max it out essentially, which is against the league rules.
Yeah, he thought he came up. He thought nothing was gonna happen to him. I mean, we've been saying this for a couple all seasons now. Like we've been trying to crack down on something like that, make sure it don't happen. But I guess he didn't get the memo. And you know, Gibbs he's a common folk now, man. He might as well be in the stands.
Yeah, so his penalty was that he get regressed all the way to normal from X Factor, and I could be wrong, but Rowe might have touched his rating a little bit. That's something I had to double check and confirm, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah,
I don't know if one of you
should.
two know.
I don't know, but I feel like he should, in my opinion. Because, I mean, we've been doing this every off season, so he just fucking didn't care. At that point, I think he just didn't care. That's how I took it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a veteran user. He's been, been here before me. He's left. He's come back. Yeah, it was very uncharacteristic, and it was just strange for a season 5 move like that. Like there was some desperation in that, but it was just really crazy. I don't know why he thought he would get away with something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking in his head when he decided to do that.
But the league really loses out because of that. Because on top of him just giving out illegal contracts, he went over the trade limit as well in acquiring players. So
Yeah,
he robbed other
won.
guys of opportunities.
Yeah, that's all it really did. He might have gotten punished, but other users that needed those players also got punished. So it's just like, damn, he overhauling everybody.
So for another winner, I honestly want to say that I think that you're a winner this offseason, Trill. And the only reasons why I said that is because you get a superstar tight end, which based on my experiences playing you, I feel like you've been at your best when you've had a traded tight end. And then also you get a superstar offensive lineman, which is one of the most competitive well, I can't speak. Competitive positions in the league. Yeah, man, I gotta go to class. I can't speak.
Nah, the O-line is definitely one of the most underrated positions a user could have, especially with that ability that you could see the user, where the user's at. I think that's a very underrated ability to have, to be able to see where they're at.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I mean I got my tight end. He's doing his thing. He's been cooking. These first 2 games he's played, he's been cooking. So I like giving up Johnny to get in the tight end. I feel like it was a good trade.
Now, Willie, we talked about the Buffalo Bills, but I think there's another AFC East team that was a loser actually this offseason. You want to talk on that?
Yeah, this guy has been trying to shop this number 7 overall pick to anybody who had ears. And he just couldn't get it off, and then just ultimately drafted a normal at 7.
You wanna name that user?
Oh, Calvin, big time, Calvin, buddy. I mean, he told me up and down he was going to get a trait back for that number 7 pick in season 5, and I said, hey, that pick is not valued the same way as season 1, 2, or 3. You got to come off that traded player stuff. You can either get you a. I offered him a 93 overall star player. He said no. So hey, enjoy your normal.
You think he's gonna play him? You think he's gonna start him? He say fuck it, he ain't gonna play him.
Yeah, I think he's just going to use that guy as trade bait. But you know, he's and regressions also hit Calvin hard. He could have made a good splash with that number 7 pick, but he whiffed. So yeah, that sucks for him.
Yeah, and on top of that, you know, he lost Jalen Waddle and Cam Smith both lost their trades, so that's a starting wide receiver and starting defensive back. So
Hmm.
he's really hurting when Spaz came up. I would still say, at the end of the day, Calvin's probably a little bit better of a user on the video game than Spaz. But Spaz making the moves he did makes him a little bit more competitive in the AFC and the AFC
Yes.
East, that whole division.
I still think he's gonna
Hmm.
run that division, but I think the gap has changed. Just how bad of an off season he had, I think it's gonna be a little more competitive.
Right. And, you know, that might make him a play for one of those AFC wildcard teams if he can get over the hump of Beasley in that AFC East, because I could very well see it. You know, Spaz gets one of those wildcard spots and Beasley doesn't make the playoffs. So that's very well possible.
Oh yeah, that's very possible. I mean, Spaz beat Beasley. He beat him. He beat his ass. It was like 84 or something. But
No.
it was
Oh,
bad.
my.
It was bad. So I'm like,
He
damn,
went
where was that
King
at?
Von on him.
Yeah, where was that at all season, Spaz? I mean, I'm just like, damn. But if he could consistently win the games that he should win, I think he could jump Beasley, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Spaz is right there. He's trying to crack. He's trying to crack that upper tier, but we'll get to that later.
And then we have one more winner and one more loser. Trill, you want to talk on one of
Yeah, I
those?
want to speak on an underrated winner. I think Shitty, the Vikings user, I think he's had a very underrated, low key, little off season, but it's primarily through the draft. He got what 3 superstar rookies off of this
Yeah.
draft. So that's 3 traits you can have on the field, and right now it's an arms race for the traits. So to be able to draft those players without having to give up anything, because most of the time you got to make a trade. So being able to draft those players was a big win for him in the competitive division, because all 4 of those users in that division are playoff contenders. So it's not easy. So to be able to have that advantage is important. To have those 3
Yeah.
rookies.
Yeah, shut up the Shitty, man.
Yeah, he definitely came up. So we got the last loser.
Yeah, and I put him down myself. I think he's still going to have a great season, but I think Carr, the Cowboys user, he lost a little bit this offseason just because his edge rusher lost their traits, and that was a big part of his defense. Because we all know Carr, he's one of the best offensive players in the game, but at times he struggled on the defensive side of the ball, and losing those traits is going to really hurt him, especially against some of the better users that have a top passing game.
Micah Parsons was doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, I think he had like 20 plus sacks last season or something like that. I could be wrong on
He
that,
definitely
but
had a lot of heavy lifting coming from Micah. So now
Hmm.
you got to really see if he got the juice or not. You know, this is going to be an important year to see where we rank him when it comes to the users, a tier system on where we put him as a user.
yeah, glad you brought that up. I think it's about time we move to that segment, guys.
Yeah, move on to the ranking, tier list, power rankings for say.
Yeah, you want to give a brief intro on the tiers, Trill, before we dive into each one specifically?
We're gonna start off with tier 5 at the bottom of the barrel again. The scrubs. We don't want to use bum. We don't want to use that bum word, man. I think the bum word is banned, so I'm not gonna use that one. And then tier 4, we got the middle of the pack type of teams. The teams that are not an easy win to come off of. You gotta actually compete a little bit, and sometimes they might sneak up on you and get a dub every once in a while. And then for tier 3, we got the above average teams, the teams that probably consistent playoff teams, can make that Cinderella run to the conference or the Super Bowl. I think at this point you're gonna go into a lot of the good users, all the comp of the league at this point with tier 3 and above. And for tier 2, we got some of the dogs. They ain't top dogs, but they dogs, and they right there to becoming dogs. I think all of them got Super Bowl appearances. One of them's won a Super Bowl, but I don't think I'm gonna consider him a top dog. And then our last tier 1 is the undisputed dogs, man. The best of the cream of the crop, the best of the best. I think we're gonna do good for this segment, man. I think it's gonna be some arguments, but I think it's gonna be good.
Before we jump into this, I do want to also say that if you have any lead takes or questions, be sure to throw them in the chat, the Twitch chat. And after we get through this segment, we're gonna read through and take a look at some of those if there are any there. But with that, Willie, I gotta say, I think you're the best person for talking about tier 5.
Okay, so at tier 5, the bottom of the barrel. This wasn't my input here, but we got Jeff, who has fallen from Jeff number 1 to Jeff number 3, and basically Jeff Patriots. I still have hope for him because I understand the personal life, but yeah, there's been a major fall from grace for him. So we have him. We have Rowe with the Colts, Bezo with the Titans, Joe with the Buccaneers, Joey with the Bengals, Rock with the Commanders, West Dog with the Raiders, and D with the Rams. And these guys are perennial non-playoff users who barely even crack 8 wins a season.
Yeah,
or 6 maybe.
It's not in order.
Sometimes
man.
4.
Put it in order just to make sure there's no confusion.
We're just gonna keep throwing the number on them.
Would you say true?
I was saying, I just want to know, man. We didn't put it in order, man. It's not an order. We're just naming teams and users.
Yeah. It's no specific order. Yeah, we're not doing like 30 to 1. We just have everybody categorized into 5 tiers.
Yeah, but hey, Willie, man. If you had to pick somebody, who was the best out of that, and who's the worst out of that tier 5?
Oh, it's a good question. Best out of that, I will still say is Jeff. Even though Jeff had the fall from grace, he's still wiping the floor with all of those guys in that tier. I do feel as though the worst would be D, and the proof is in the pudding with the numbers of him having 6 wins in 4 seasons. I mean, there's nothing else you can say about that.
That's facts. You really can't say nothing about that. I respect that. I agree with that take. Fucking Jeff and D. I agree.
I think you put it perfectly.
So we going on to tier 4. Where Ravy, you want to go tier 4, the list?
Yeah, I can. So, as Shiro mentioned, this is the middle of the pack guys. Not an easy win, and sometimes they may just pull up the upset, which one of them just kicked my behind this past week. So going through the list, we have Beezy, the Jets, Insane. He was a one-time champ back in the day, but hasn't sniffed the Super Bowl in a couple Maddens. Wood, he's the Steelers this Madden, so as we mentioned earlier, him and Rowe rotate who has the Steelers. They have a grandfather system there. M-Boy, the Cardinals. Willie's oldest son, he just kicked my behind this past week. He's one of those guys, he's still middle of the pack, but he's trending upwards. I gotta be honest with you. When he's locked in, Tony with the Bears, Shitty with the Vikings, Noski with the Seahawks, Ron with the Texans, Hoodie with the Giants, Red with the Niners, and then Boogie with the Chargers, and then Spaz with the Bills.
Yeah, I feel everybody in that list, I think they all middle of the pack. I think most of them made the playoff. I think everybody on this list has made the playoffs this Madden. Hoodie, I don't think Hoodie made it, actually.
No, Hoodie and Spaz hasn't.
Yeah, Hoodie and Spaz. But everybody else has made it.
I think Hoodie barely, I don't know, I can't remember if he made season 1 or he barely missed out season 1, because I remember, there was like a tiebreaker situation, but I'd have to go back and double check that.
Yeah, but for the time being, man, him and Spaz are the odd mans when it comes to the playoffs, making the playoffs. So then, Willie, I'm gonna ask again, man, who you got is the best and the worst, man, tier 4?
Okay. I'm gonna just start off with the worst because that's the easiest one for me. And the worst one in tier 4 is Boogie with the Chargers because he has 4 free wins basically given to him with from the CPU and two from he should is expected that he beats West Dog. He should be sweeping West Dog every season. And he just got mopped up by West Dog this advance. But yeah, but just fighting for the playoffs, like he should be in every season. The fact that he struggles to make the playoffs, like I said, with a 4 win head start, I mean, nobody else really gets outside of Mike, but that's a given. But nobody else should. I don't think anybody else loses or not makes the playoffs with 4 free wins. And now the best. This is a toss up for me, but I'm going to give the nod to. I'm gonna give it to Wood. Out of those, I would say between Wood, Beasley, and Insane, he's like more consistent with his play.
Mm-hmm.
He's beaten guys above his tier, and he's beaten a lot of he's handily beat a lot of guys in his tier as well. Um, he's a hell of a. I would say he's one of those regular season guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would give him the nod, but it's not like he's head and shoulders above everybody.
Man, you say Boogie, man, I think I'd say Ron if you're talking about the worst in that list. Because, I mean, I know you could say Boogie got 4 free wins, but if we being real, Ron does too. And you could see, I think Boogie could compete with, he could build his team and can compete because he's beaten Mike. He beat Mike and Trey last season. So it's not like Boogie can't necessarily compete. He just be losing games that he got no business losing to for whatever reason. But Ron, I have never seen really Ron beat a top user outside of Calvin one time. And he only made the playoffs once too. Boogie's made it like twice. I think twice or 3 times. Ron only made it once because Jeff was out of town. So someone had to win. Someone had to win that division since Jeff was out of town. So I think I
Jeff number 2, Jaguars.
Yeah, Jeff number 2. So I think
I mean, I can kind of agree with you. Now, this will be my counter argument to that. The Chargers are a way better start than the Texans. I mean, this man gave away Herbert for a weak-ass arm Tua and can never convince me of how that's a good fucking trade for him. I just don't understand that shit. And that defense was really good compared to the Texans. Like, the Texans are a team right now for somebody that can really roster build, and Ron's not the most. He hasn't proven himself to really be like that good roster builder. Neither has Boogie. Boogie's not doing anything with that roster either, but Boogie's got a better start than him, in my opinion. I mean, and Ron still has to go through 2 users that can win a game. You know, Boogie got the CPU and West Dog. I mean, like I said, the numbers don't lie. West Dog is third in wins, in user wins.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, come on, man, what we talking about?
Hey, I'm just saying, Boogie has made the playoffs, though. I mean, he's been a consistent 7 seed. That used to be, man, the 7 seed in the AFC. That's Boogie's spot. And that used to be his spot. Then Wood took it last season. But I could say Boogie might have a better start, but I think he's still been able to compete just a little bit. Not a lot, but he can compete a little bit compared to Ron, because Ron hasn't beat anybody. And he hasn't developed any. Like, can you name a player that nigga has developed that wasn't already traded?
Yeah, you're right about that. He hasn't. Not one.
Nigga, Nico was superstar. Fucking CJ superstar. I don't think he got Will Anderson superstar. He might have been, but he regressed. And Stingley, I don't think Stingley superstar either. So it's like, damn, who had that nigga develop?
You're right. He hasn't developed anybody for real, for
That's why they wanted to leave.
He was like, I'm about to leave. I'm gonna leave. Uh,
Yeah,
but I'm not
that
mad at
wasn't
it.
a good
I'm
look.
not mad at a Boogie pick. You picking Boogie though. It's not a bad pick. And that trade
I'm
was
sorry. What?
stupid. That trade was
I'm
stupid.
sorry. D has 6 wins in 4 seasons. West has 7. Rowe has 16, and Bezo has 13. So the competition ain't really the same.
It's not the same. But if we talking like if it's a middle of the pack user, he still should be able to handle business. That's all.
I mean, Ron also has uh 32 user wins. Boogie has 22.
As for the best user, I like the pick of Wood, but I really want to give an honorable mention to Tony because I felt like he was really competitive with the
Yes.
Commanders last season or last Madden per se. And
Hmm.
then this Madden, I mean, he's in one of the toughest divisions in the NFC North. So I feel like Tony would win some of the other divisions if he were in those divisions instead of the one that he's currently in.
But Noski's made it the
Agree with
furthest out of everybody on that list though in the playoffs.
True. But then he followed it up with a 5-1 season.
Nah, I mean he did. That's why I'm not gonna say he's fucking up there like he's one of them top of the tier 4, but he definitely had the best run out of
Well,
everybody.
no, actually, it was no ski because he's the one that made it to the conference trip.
That's what I'm saying. He had the
Okay.
best run compared to everybody on that list, but I wouldn't say
Yeah.
he's the top of that list though. That's all.
And with what Willie said about Wood being a regular season merchant, he did have an undefeated regular season at one point.
And went one and done. Went one and done. Yeah.
Yeah, that's time he packed him with the Bengals.
Him and Todd, they both went undefeated the same season, and
Oh
they
yeah.
both went one and done. So that should tell you something. That was a wild season.
All right, do we want to move on to the next tier?
Let's go. You got that one, Rave.
All right, so tier 3. These are the users that are above average, consistently make playoffs, but they have not shown that they are capable of winning Super Bowl, even if they have made appearances in the past. And for some of them, they've never been to the Super Bowl, or they haven't been to the Super Bowl in a little while. And the users that we have here are Carr with the Cowboys, which this is his first Madden the Roadshow lead. And he's shown he's a really good opponent and can beat some of the top cats. Calvin over there with the Dolphins. I feel like Calvin's one of those guys, like, he could beat anybody, but he can also lose to anybody in the playoffs. And I think it's more times often than not, it's just that he loses by shooting himself in the foot. Like, his last playoffs, he was beating Jeff number 2 by like 2 scores, and then he threw a pick 6. Then we have G Money. G Money's one of those guys. I think he's made a bowl or two, but every time when the lights get bright, he just can't get it together. Byron, he played the real life Buffalo Bills challenge, lost 3 straight Super Bowls. And then we have Willie himself, which Willie, I would say like 3 Maddens ago, you were probably tier 4, maybe tier 5, but you came a long way since then.
Yeah, got that experience under his belt.
Yeah, I remember beating him by like 64 points or something like that, and and now every time I go against him, it's a tough matchup.
Man, I took my lumps.
Everybody take their lumps though. I think if you want to be considered like the top, you gotta take that ass whooping every once in a while.
So, Trill, do you want to answer the question you've asked Willie for the last 2 tiers for this tier?
Yeah, I got you, man. So for the worst, I mean, it's real.
Just bring it here. Bring it here.
I mean, it's either between you or Car, if I'm being real. But I mean, you've beaten Car convincingly in the past, so I feel like the easy answer would just say Car.
But
Undefeated
Carr is
against
beating
Carr.
me and Byron.
Yeah, but it's crazy how that works, because fucking Willie can beat Car can handle Byron. It's just like, I think that's a safe answer is to go Car. But I think I'm going to say G, though. Only reason I'm going to say G is because he had a great team to start off with the Lions. I mean, you too, Willie, but not making the playoff. He wasn't a consistent playoff user at first. So it's just like they hire you the Lions and you not making the playoffs. So I'm like, I kind of bubbled that, and be like, man, this nigga is bullshitting. But he's turned a leaf though. He made the conference last season. I don't know what he did the year before, but I know he made the playoffs. So I mean, he's definitely turned the leaf, and he's a good user. But that's my answer would be G for worse. And then best,
Okay.
it's tough, man, because again I say Calvin, but uh, I'll say Calvin because I don't think because Jeff on the other team, so I'm gonna say Calvin. I think he with the Dolphins, he definitely built the Dolphins up. He's had a bad off season, but I mean at the same time he's definitely consistently been within that top four of the AFC. But he's definitely the fourth. If we talk about the top four, I think he's fourth in the top four. But I'll say
Yeah.
Calvin.
And just looking at the past few men in general, I don't know the math for sure, but there's probably a good chance that he's made the most conference championships out of all the people in this tier. I mean, he's one of those guys, like, he can go in a deep playoff run. He's just yet to put it all together to get that ring. He's so close to it, though.
Yeah, yeah. My first ring was against Calvin. We was both playing for our first championship. So yeah, he definitely competes. It was a close game, but I mean I pulled it out with the defense, man. That Charger defense.
I'm really surprised by the G Money answer. Um,
I mean
I mean,
you also would have been there with that. But you had punishment. The only reason I wouldn't have said you is because of the punishment that you took. So you really ain't really have a chance to just make the playoffs. Because outside of the punishments, you should be a playoff team with the Eagles.
right,
But
right.
for G, I don't know what he did to start the season to make him just not make the. I know he's in a competitive division, but that Lions team is the best. Like overall team roster is the best team. So he should at least make the play. He ain't got to win the division, but he should be making the playoffs every season. There really should be no reason why you're not. That's why I say G.
Okay, okay, I dig it. All
What
right, so
would
we're
you?
gonna move along to. I'm sorry, you got something
Nah,
else?
yeah, like who would you pick then? If you don't think it's G, who would you pick?
I'd have put myself there just because out of all the guys in this tier three, five of us that y'all named, um, we all got. I only have the singular playoff win where everybody else has multiple. So that's where I would put myself. Well, I'm sorry, G Money has one, but G has made the playoffs 3 out of 4. Um, so I mean, I would really give it to myself though, because on top of me taking the punishment too, I think that kind of gets accounted in there from my on my self reflection.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
But we know what it is. But
Yeah, that's fair.
to move along to tier two, the guys that are right up there, it's a short list of Raven with the Falcons. He's done an amazing job with that young Falcons team. He's also a 7-time champ. A lot of those are 6 of those are accounted for in the Atari days. Before a lot of the top, well, not
Black and
top, but a
white.
lot of the black and white ones, a lot before a lot of the better users joined the league. Then there's Trading with the Ravens. He's been a very consistent top user. He's a very tough out. And we have the Jeff with the Jaguars. He is one of those guys, I would say, just because he's knowing him, he's my brother. He's not a football guy. Um, and he has skyrocketed since joining the Row League to being where he is with 2 Super Bowl appearances overall. And is a perennial playoff user and one of our top roster builders in our league.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, um, given that Ravens already in this category, Trill, again, who would you out of out of three of these guys, who would you say is the best? And I really don't think saying worst is good for this category, but who do you have your best and who do you have your third?
Well, I mean, Raven would probably be the easy answer to say the best. Just based on how he's come along with this comp change. Because he definitely
Mm,
had some Atari rings, some Xbox 360 rings. So for me to actually see him win a ring, man, it just hit it like, alright, maybe Raven is for real. Maybe he did win them rings way back. Because I wasn't here when he did that. And I mean, he beat Trey in the Super Bowl, and he just made the Super Bowl this past year, and lost to someone in the Tier 1 list. But Raven would easily be the best. And then between Trey and Jeff, I think
mm,
it's tough to say. I mean, Jeff's been to more Super Bowls, and I mean, Trey's been since I don't remember when Trey joined. I think Trey was already in the league when I joined, but I think Trey has been consistently a tougher user. He wasn't elite at that point when I joined the league, but he was definitely a good user. To now, he's a elite user. So he's been consistently in that great to elite category compared to Jeff having to go from the bottom to the top. But I think I'd say Trey for now, but it's liable to change. So I think Trey is that odd man out.
mm.
I think I'd say Trey odd man.
Okay. Okay. I'm sure that's gonna ruffle some feathers down there in Texas.
It might ruffle some feathers, but I mean it's not a bad thing necessarily though. I mean they're two great users. I mean someone had to be third, man. That's all I can say.
It just feeds their
Yeah,
their little feud that they got.
yeah, man. They might say something to me after. Yeah, they might. Yeah,
Okay, Raven, take away tier one.
Yeah, tier one. So we only got two users remaining. So these guys are the king of the hill. There's going to be Trill, one of the hosts of the podcast, and 9-time Super Bowl champ. Currently has the Saints. He's won 2 rings with them this Madden. And then the other guy is going to be Mike. He's an 8-time Rose Show champ. And he just won his last ring this past season against me in the Super Bowl, where he had the Kansas City Chiefs and he beat me 30-27. He was blowing me out in that first half, but I was able to come back and make it a competitive game to the end. So, but those are the two top dogs. They run the lead.
Hey, so Willie, man, who you picking, man?
Hey man, listen, this is it's very easy for me because I mean shit. If you get nicknamed the bot, that pretty much tells it all. So Trill, you would be the top dog, and Mike has proven to be more beatable, but he could get beat by the average user, shall I say?
Yeah, he prone against D. I can see that. He ain't lost a boogie, so I mean I could tell you something.
Kelsey's in the
Yeah,
playoffs. He knows he just
and
has to make it to January and then he can beat anybody.
Yeah, he definitely rears it up in the playoffs.
hmm
So yeah, man, Raven, you agree, man?
Yeah, I would. I think one of the main reasons I would say I agree is I think Trill changes things up more often, and he's willing to adapt based on how the game is going. Whereas in comparison to Mike, like he runs a lot of the same concepts, and those concepts are hard to stop. But there are some plays, he goes out there and you know exactly what it's going to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm the same way sometimes. Like I have my same set of plays. So I'd say that's the big difference is that Trill's more of a wild card because he can, change things up in the middle of the moment.
Okay, yeah, I
Okay.
hear that. I appreciate the props, man. Appreciate it, man. You love to hear it. So we'll be on the next segment we're gonna talk about
Uh,
this coming team draft that's coming up after this season with
Yep,
the
that's
50 point
exactly it.
system.
So we're gonna do an early sneak peek into next Madden. We're gonna do a mock draft of the top 12 users, and this is based on the number of points that they've acquired throughout the first 4 seasons. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have Willie do the first pick, and then Trill will do the second pick, and then I'll do the third pick, and then we'll just keep rotating that as we go through all 12 users. And again, with the first pick, after Willie decides who he thinks Trill's gonna be taking, that'll mean that the second pick, who Trill's picking for Mike, will be in the opposite conference. I know that sounds a little confusing, but it'll make a little more sense as we go through it.
Right. So to start things off, Trill already threw everybody a bone by taking the Saints this Madden and then still showing his dominance in the league. I don't think we're going to get that type of deal for Madden 26. But for shits and giggles, I'm going to put him back in the AFC. I can see Trill. I'm going to just say Trill's going to go Ravens.
He'd be the most hated person in the league.
Huh?
So he'd be the most hated person in the league by me.
Right. I think just from this, they have an exciting defense with the addition of Malachi Starks to a pretty good secondary already. Then you just factor in Lamar and Derrick Henry. I mean, they have assets that could be moved. In conversations with Trill about the Saints, there wasn't really much he could shake there in the beginning. He had to develop a lot of his talent and stuff like that. But I'm not sure if he wants to put himself that far behind again. So I'm just going to go out there on a limb and say Ravens.
I like it. Obviously, Trill's not going to speak on this. He doesn't want to give any information to anybody where he might be going next. But I was thinking there's a small chance for another AFC North team he might go to. And I can see that being the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the Browns have Myles Garrett. I know he's a little older in terms of Madden age, but I think Trill would enjoy having him and Denzel Ward. He would have a young quarterback in Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. They have 2 rookie quarterbacks. And then also they took a running back from his favorite school, Ohio State. And I think another big reason, just the AFC North in general would be a good fit for Trill, is that there's a high likelihood that's a division where there will be a full slate of users for filling up all 4 spots. Because Trill's had a history where he's been in divisions with a computer team, and I know after being in that position for just this Madden, it sucks. So I can imagine that he's wanting to change things up in that scope. But I like that.
Okay, so on that, why would you say having the CPU sucks?
Granted, yeah, you get the free wins, and then also you don't have to deal with injuries in those games, but you're losing out on points. So you're losing out on 2 to 3 points a season. And that's pretty big when it's getting close. I mean, like, if we look at it now, Trill's up by 6 in comparison to Mike, and Trill's won 2 Super Bowls this Madden, so.
Okay, good point.
Yeah, because, I mean, you think about it, you're pretty much losing on 10 to 15 points in Madden almost, so. But I like that pick of the Ravens, Willie. Mike, where you get, or not Mike, Trill, where do you have Mike going?
Well, see, it's a toss-up because Mike's been crying he's going to the Patriots, and since he said Ravens, I gotta say NFC team. I think the obvious choice would have been the Eagles, but Mike's been the Eagles before, and I haven't seen Mike to want to repeat with the same team. But I think he might go Detroit. If I had to say, I think he's going to go Detroit and go play with J-Mo and Gibbs with that explosive offense and an elite defense with Hutchinson and Brian Branch and all them young guns. Man, I think he'd go Detroit with the first pick or the second
He'd be
pick.
dangerous for Gibbs.
Interesting. But I don't know. I see Mike doesn't like to put in that type of work like everybody else, and he's going to want to start with that X Factor quarterback. Just saying.
I mean, but that team is so built, it's almost like, man, it shouldn't be that hard if you want to develop a quarterback because that team is so built.
Before we continue, Rose said that tell Trill to talk louder or turn his mic up.
Alright.
Too cool, baby. But you know what, Trill? If he was to take a team like the Lions who didn't have an X factor quarterback to start, I would be very interested in seeing that because, like I said, ever since I came into the league, Mike has always had, the best of the best. I haven't seen him what I would call through the struggle, like how you just went through with the Saints, having no quarterback basically. I don't know if Mike's that kind of good. I'm not saying he has to prove it to me, but I would like to see it.
I hope Mike's listening right now.
But the team you think he would go though, like I don't think he'd go Eagles again in my opinion. So there's not a lot of traded quarterbacks in the NFC.
Right. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, he would definitely if they make Goff a superstar, then I guess he would go Lions, but um he might go NFC West and take the Niners.
Is Purdy still gonna be superstar though? And I don't
I
even think
think so.
I don't even think he would want to play with Purdy though, because he gotta have like 87 throw power or something like crazy like that. So I don't think he would want to play with Purdy.
Man, there's always a Spice Boy laying around, that'll help him out.
Is there any shot as a dark horse? Maybe he goes Atlanta.
Penix not
Ooh.
traded either though. That's not a bad team. I think we're looking at it from quarterback. I think the running back's probably gonna be more important than Mike. I think you can
I
always
agree.
develop a quarterback.
That's what I'm saying.
If you have an elite running back, I think that's just gonna trump it. That's why.
But
Mm.
I think the Lions gives him the best of both worlds, especially because he'll have JMO and he loves the speedy wide receivers. So
He replaced Xavier
Good point.
with J-Mo.
Good point.
all right, moving on to the third pick. It's going to be Trey Dean in the AFC or True. And I think Trey Dean, if the Ravens already taken, I think he's going to go with the Chiefs. And the reason why I say this is because he gets a X Factor quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, who have speedy wide receivers and Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and I believe McCole Hardman's still on the team, who have Travis Kelce up for at least one season, maybe two, but likely only one season, as a traded tight end. I believe Creed Humphrey might be a traded center. And I think a big thing for him is on defense. He'll have Chris Jones for at least like 3 seasons, a traded defensive tackle. And I think that's something that really hurt him this man with the Ravens, is not having a traded defensive lineman to help stop the run game.
Mm.
I mean, I like it. I think he'd go Miami. I think he wants.
I almost want there.
I think he wants to prove something with Miami. He got unfinished business there because he said he wanted to pick Miami this Madden, but what happened? Why he didn't take? I don't know what happened to why he didn't take them, but he wanted them because he wanted to prove that he could compete with that team, and that team got all that speed. It's like a drug, really. You think that speed is all worth it until you figure out you got a whole other team. You got the whole rest of the team you got to look after outside of that speed. I would think he'd go Miami, but I like the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs pick.
Will, you have any input?
I kind of agree. I know he's not going to give us any surprise picks. I think he's going to take one of the best, whoever's the best team available. And yeah, if the Ravens aren't there, then Chiefs are next up. I never seen Trey Dean take a team that really needs to get built up like that either. But like I said, I came into this league so late, where guys had already established themselves ahead of me. So I haven't seen them, in the early days.
Mm-hmm.
But to go with the next pick will be at Raven on the list. And back in the NFC, I know you say you don't want to be in a division with the CPU, but I could say I could see you going Packers. If you're not going to run it back with the Falcons, I could see you going Packers. They're solid on both sides of the ball. They have a good running back to start with. Not the youngest, but still in his prime somewhat with Brandon Jacobs. Jacobs. Um, not Brandon Jacobs. I'm sorry,
Josh
Josh
Jacobs.
Josh
Jacobs.
Jacobs. I'm sorry. I was watching Brandon Jacobs highlights today.
Yeah, Josh.
Phenomenal.
His son's big. He's super big.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Anyways,
Yeah.
back to the.
But I'm thinking Packers. They have a fast wide receiver in Christian Watson. We all know how Raven likes to throw the bomb. It's just a nice little starter pack for you.
Yeah, you get to play Mike. You get to play. I think Raven would want to play Mike if he had the opportunity and had a good team to start.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd pick Atlanta though. I think Atlanta's where he want. He want to play with Bijan. I think that's what he was gonna do personally. But
Yeah. I wanted to switch it up though, but I really think Falcons too.
yeah, for the entertainment, man, let him go to the NFC North, man, with Mike. Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think Chicago might be a good pick too, with Caleb, and they got that tight end from Michigan. Raven likes tight ends, and then he got Swift. I think DeAndre Swift's still there. I
Yep.
don't know if he's still traded or not. I know he was to start the Madden. I don't know if he still is, but you could always develop a running back. Raven, he's good at. He's a running back whisperer, so he's gonna develop somebody if he ain't already there. So, and they got a very young team, so I wouldn't be surprised if he might go Chicago or not. But I like the Packers. Let's see who's
We got Byron next.
Byron next. Then we got an AFC for Byron. If I had, he had a little Texas division with G this year, so I wouldn't leave it out the question. I think he might go LA Chargers with his next pick. I think he go LA. I think.
I like that.
Interesting. Okay.
With Justin Herbert and Omarion Hampton, now that they drafted him with McColley and all the young guns the Chargers starting to build with a great line with Joe Alt and Slater. That's a great old line.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna go right up his alley, right up Byron's alley. The only thing is that defense is we got to build that defense up from the ground up really, because you only got Khalil Mack and Derwin James. Everybody else is gone, so it's just about building that defense. But I think Byron might be up for that challenge. Get another Texas division going, and you also get West Dog as well. So that's two games right there. I think that entices some people to pick a division. You're not gonna have a good user in.
Yeah, that's almost one of the reasons why I had trading going to the Chiefs, just because West Dog is in that division. No offense to West Dog, but
yeah, no disrespect, nothing like that. Yeah, I think he go Chargers. I have to pick.
Okay.
Will, you got any thoughts on that?
No, I mean I like it. Like you said, there's some work to do to the defense, but if Byron's up for a task, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I like it as well. I could see him maybe on the low, maybe going to the Jaguars, but I'd like the Chargers as a better fit.
I think that's a big falls.
Alright. Moving on. Karkar back to the NFC. I think Karkar's like me. He would pick his favorite team, whether they're the best team of the game or if they're the worst. I got Karkar going to the Panthers.
I
Okay.
don't think there would be no argument for me, man. That's his favorite team. He's been rocking with the Panthers since I fucking met him through Xbox, and that was like I was a sophomore in high school when I met Karkar. So he always been a huge Panthers fan. So I'm not surprised he would not go.
He's trying to get JC Horn for me every off season, so But I think he's been pretty vocal. If they're there, and that's where he's going. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a good enough user that he's not afraid to smoke. He'll build up that team.
Yeah, there's
for
probably not going
sure.
to be no top users in that division either. Yeah, outside of maybe the Falcons.
Right. Okay. Next, we got Jeff number 2. That currently has the Jags, and I'm just going to put him right back there. You
I
know,
like it.
the same reason why he took him. Now, young team, but even more now, they'll have Trav, so even more incentive to take him.
You think he'd be a type of person to go to back to back? You think he'd do that?
Oh yeah, I mean the way he's kind of fell in love with this Jags team. I mean, but also, like I said, he's a student of the league in a sense. He watches everybody. He picks apart different things from different people's games and stuff like that. He's watched closely to how guys team build, and he's really in tune to how to move and shake within the rules and stuff like that. So a tip for a lot of you users out here that want to get better and stuff like that: build your team, but also look for youth because we're playing for 5 seasons here. So you guys that start out with these old dudes, it ain't gonna be good by season 5, and then some of y'all are not gonna keep them up as superstars and X Factors by season 3. So start thinking about y'all schemes and your team selection a little bit more.
Yeah, W advice right there. Over there giving free game. Next we got Calvin. NFC for Calvin. I think it's Eagles for Calvin. They're the next best team available. And they're loaded too. Super Bowl champs in real life. They are loaded everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the easiest choice you could really make with this pick.
Okay, I like it.
I like it as well. That just seems like a Calvin-esque pick. And, I mean, I don't mean that as like a bad thing. I'm just saying that just seems like a tendency of his that he would do, and I don't blame him. If they're there, pick the best team available. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, for sure. It's a no-brainer.
We got G. Raven got some G money.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little interesting. I feel like on the AFC side of things, but I think I'm gonna have him taking the Dolphins here because as of this point, that whole division's wide open. No one's picking a team there. I mean, he wouldn't notice during the team selection necessarily, but speed kills. If they're there, I don't see why he wouldn't go there. I know he's the type of guy that he likes to chase people and play in their divisions competitively, but I think he's sitting there and he's like, is there really a better team than this? Maybe he could go Cincinnati, but I think Miami's a better Madden team.
I mean, he say he want to go to Denver. He's been saying, I'm going to pick Denver anytime we play 2K and bring up Madden. But if the Dolphins are still there, I mean, he might be enticed to be like, yeah, let me go to Miami and go play with all that speed. So
He just has to make sure he re-signs A-Chain.
Make sure he re-sign his players, man. Make sure you take care of that before you pick your team. You gotta figure that out. Because if I see Jalen Waddle or fucking Minka, if I see one of them out there, man, it'll be free each.
Okay. Next up, we got Beezy. Now, with the setup, Beezy can't pick an AFC team and can't go back to the Jets. So I'm going to say we'll land Beezy with the Cowboys over the Niners because they got Micah. They got George Pickens now. They got CD, of course. Dak will still be superstar. And yeah, I think he won't go Niners because they're much older and slower.
Texas boy too at that. So I mean, I think he would go Cowboys
That's right.
just to rep the Texans, not the Texans, the Cowboys to rep the Cowboys. So
Yeah,
that's a fair pick.
no argument
Hmm.
from me. I like it.
So I got what insane. And it's insane. If insane was in the NFC, he would have definitely went to Niners. But
Hmm.
Hmm.
now he's back to the AFC again. I mean, insane doesn't really. I think he would probably pick. Man, the Jets aren't good yet. The Bills maybe. I might have. Oh, he said, geez, the Dolphins. I don't think Insane's gonna pick a. Cause you could see the picks now when you're going into the team draft. Everybody could see where everybody went. I don't think Insane would play with G twice a year. So, but then you would also have to play B twice a year or Byron and Trey. Yeah, we go Bills then. I think that's the best team you could probably go with. So I think Bills. At least we get your X Factor quarterback. I think he got some work to do with the offensive weapons that they have. They don't really. They got Keon Coleman and Dawson
Hmm.
Knox, but it's not really much. So got a lot to build on offense with your skill position, and then their defense is pretty old. They got Tre'Davious White and Joey Bosa. So those are two old guys that are on the way out. So I think the Bills gonna have a lot of rebuilding to do. So I think that's just the best available team compared to where everybody else has went so far.
They got a couple of young corners. They have Elam, and I think they just took a guy in the first round this year. So
Yeah, I still think there's gonna be a lot of building that has to be done with that team still.
oh, for sure. I have no additional input. What about you,
Yeah,
Will?
maybe. Yeah, no, I ain't got nothing for that one. I mean, it gets kind of tricky at the end, in the AFC up there. But I could see him go to the Texans just to go, get a little bit of an easier road, you know, because like we said before, there's a easier a user there already. That's grandfather. The Colts aren't looking like somebody that's going to be highly picked, nor do they really have anything that's a threat. And then you only got to worry about the Jags. So I mean, like if he wants to go where he's picking at and road of least restriction, I think it would be the AFC South and the Texans.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it, man. That's fair.
All right. And the cap off our mock draft for the top 12 users, we have Wood. And I was going back and forth between a couple teams, but I think he's going to go with the 49ers.
Mm, okay.
I almost had him going to Atlanta or even Washington, but I feel like Wood's one of those guys. He doesn't really care if he takes a team that has players on the other side of the age, a little older, but he's going to start off with a really great team. That's the way he's going to look at it.
Hmm.
And that division, the NFC West is wide open, really. He might get a competitive Seahawks user, but Cardinals and Rams, unless anybody takes them early, those are gonna probably be relatively easier opponents. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
That's fair. I think the Niners will probably be the best available team for what's available.
yeah, I looked at Washington and Atlanta. I really did. So
And the Niners aren't a bad pick. If you're picking sixth, it's not a bad pick.
So we got me with the Ravens. We go division by division, I guess. So with the AFC North is me and would have been me and Rowe for just within the top 12. And Rowe having a grandfather, it's just me and Rowe, I think.
yep.
Hmm.
And then we got the Texas division out in the AFC West with Byron and Trey, and then Westall with the grandfather. Any other divisions really? I guess Mike and Raven. That would be a great division right there, Mike and Raven.
Yeah, that would.
That'd be really entertaining. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's.
AFC East, you'd have G and Insane.
Then Beezy and Calvin. Oh damn, hey, that would be crazy. Beezy and Calvin, same division again. 3 years. That was crazy coincidence. 3 years straight in the same division.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
That would be crazy. I can't even lie.
I like the picks we did here. I mean, obviously, like we said, there's some guys that could go to another direction, but I really like the list we compiled.
It's a good list right here.
All right, so up next, we're gonna take a look through the chat and see if anybody threw anything in there. There were a couple things I saw. I did want to ask you guys: did you guys want to take a minute to get some water or anything, or do we just want to keep going?
I'm good. I'm here. Whatever you guys need.
I'm good to go.
The show keeps rolling, then. All right, so taking a look at the chat, let me scroll up, see a couple things. So one, Trading said next podcast, but we'll just say one podcast in general. He wants to come up and talk about how the Texas boys came in and shook the lead up. Is this something? That's something we might have to set up. That hear him out, see what he has to say.
Don't the Texas men? Don't they have 0 rings? Man, what is they?
Yeah, they do. That's that mean photo I made.
Yeah, like what is they shooking up? I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean,
the wild card spots.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of them, but I wouldn't say they shook anything up. But it would be nice to hear his perspective on things, man, how he feels about how they had shooken up the league.
Red said, if you had to replace 5 people in the lead, who would you replace? Do we want to take this question, or is that too sensitive? What do you guys think?
No, that's a good question.
I mean, would we just be pulling guys from the tier 5?
Mostly.
Mostly, huh?
Mostly be that,
All right. In no particular order. Let's just list 5 guys. You want to go first, Will?
My favorite D. Is not just for the simple fact that he's just a non-competitor. And I'm all for competition. I want everybody to be able to compete, and he just has no willingness to compete. So he would be my first vote.
I'd say next up is Rock. He right up there when it comes to D. When it comes to being a trash user. And Rock, man, he just not very I don't know the right word to use, rational. He's not very rational with his thoughts. He kind of just says shit. We try to just have a discussion, a disagreement. It's not very rational, his process. He's just talking to talk instead of actually just having a debate about a trade or whichever. It just get on my nerves sometimes. So that would be my personal pick.
Okay. What about you, Raven? What you got?
Well, if I could remove anybody, it'd probably be Trill and make life a little easier for me. I'm kidding. But no, I'd say just continuing along the same narrative you guys have said. I like him a lot, but unfortunately, I'd probably have to say Joey, because I feel like sometimes he's a little difficult to schedule with, which I get because we all have busy lives, and he also doesn't play every game necessarily. So.
Okay.
3, man. What you got? Willie for number 4.
All right. So listen, this is where it really gets tough because I can't really pick anybody in tier 5 because the rest of those guys, like, they play. Like, whether their skill may not be there, they play. I'm going to jump up into tier 4. And my second favorite is Boogie. Boogie's one of those guys who also is tough to schedule with at times. Just at times, whenever I don't know what it is, but he likes to reschedule on you. The communication isn't always clear, and then like I said, he's just not that great of a user.
Okay.
Fair enough, man.
I
Number
want competition, man.
Man, I think I'd say Jeff number 3 if I had to pick somebody. I think he does a lot of things I think he's more of a behind the scenes type of commissioner. So, I mean, I could say you could kick him from the league because he could be behind the scenes doing his thing, but he definitely has a scheduling issue, for sure got a scheduling issue a lot of the time. But I mean, he'd be busy with his daughter, so it's understandable. I'm not mad that he can't schedule that well, but you can't say that it doesn't get repetitive after a while. Like, damn, trying to schedule a game here, he waits to the last minute to say something. It's like he never around his phone. Apparently, I don't know how you not around your phone. I don't know how that works. Because if I text somebody, like, damn, it shouldn't take you 12 hours to say something. Like, damn, you ain't that busy. Just a couple 10 seconds. That's all it takes. Is 10 seconds. So
Yeah.
I'll be the person I would say.
Okay.
So that would be our 5 right there.
We both did 2. You gotta do 2, man.
Oh man, I was gonna say Jeff, but he took that from me. I had to pick another user.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough because, like Willie said, everybody else really plays their games. But from a competitive standpoint, if I had to pick somebody else, it would probably be Joe. I don't want to pick anybody else, but if I had to, it would just be him. I do think he could get better over time, and he's shown a couple of little flashes, but right now, he's just not up to competitively. But again, he plays his game, so I would not want to cut him, but he would be... It's a cop-out answer, but if I had to pick somebody, it would probably be him.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, you want to round it up, Trill? Who all we listed?
So what we said? We said Rock, D, Joe, Jeff number 3, and Boogie. Was that the-
Joey.
And Joey.
Yeah, Joey, man, the cheater. Yeah, that's the 6.
All right. Another topic we had in the chat was worst people to trade with. So I don't know if we just want to go around and give one user each. And I don't know, should we purchase as like the toughest people to trade with, or just like they do really bad trades?
I mean, however you feel makes them the worst.
Because if we're talking about who's the worst person who makes terrible trades, I feel D's fine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's kind of universally number 1.
Yeah.
But if we talking about just who's the worst to try to get a trade done with, I mean, I say Rock. That's just me, I guess. I can never.
Him and Bro are both tough to trade
I
with.
can never get a trade done with Rock.
I think with Rock, you just got to know how to speak his language.
See, I get it. That's it. That's my thing, man. Because I can't speak his language. It's not easy to try to speak it. So it's like, he got it.
I guess kind of mindset it's the toughest to trade with, but I'm gonna actually say the person that posed this topic. I think Red does bad trades because he does too many trades. He blows his teams up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I could see that. If he was to hold back on some of his trades, it wouldn't be as like, he don't do necessarily terrible trades.
Yeah,
There's just so many of them. It's kind of, you don't.
but he could keep some guys.
You don't really get a
like-
feel for your team if you're always making trades. I could see
Okay.
that.
Um, for me, I will have to say, uh, I would say for me it's Spaz. Anytime I get into negotiations with him, it just never really works out. I feel like he's a guy that overvalues what he has. Um, and then it's just the way he communicates with trading makes it difficult for him to work with. Yeah, that's who I got.
All right. Looking at the chat, another thing, not necessarily a topic, but something maybe we could do in the future is Red said that we should do a full lead mock draft. I mean, that'd be some fun. We could honestly probably do a full episode on just that alone, to be
Yeah,
honest
so I
with
just
you.
say that would take a minute with 30 people.
But I think that's something that could be pretty fun to do.
I agree.
Yeah, that would be nice to do, man. That would take a minute, so I think that would work. Red got hella questions. He's got me thinking
But
he the feds or something with all these questions.
but I think that's good there in terms of like the stuff that's put in the chat. Some of the other things that I don't think should be discussed. I think they're more
Oh,
just like comments rather than like takes.
we just got a question from our
Bro.
commissioner, and it says, Roe asks, "What will you guys change structurally about the league?"
Yeah, structurally, I think that making it 32, man. I'm gonna die on that hill to go 32. I think having CPU. I mean, at least for me, I'm tired of having a CPU in my division. I just would rather play. I feel like I do best just getting in reps because this and the G League are the only leagues that I do. And I mean, we done with the G League now, so this is the only league. So it's like I just want to get as many reps as I can, and having a CPU kind of limits that for me. So that would be my structural change.
Okay, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the best answer for the leads at. From a personal standpoint, I would love to see the lead on salary cap. I think that would really change things up, but I'm afraid that we would lose users going that route, and that's also something I never see Roe doing. He'd still be haunting from the coffin, saying that you better keep that salary cap off. So
Yeah, my top pick would definitely be the salary cap. Just to give guys to see where guys' GM skills are. But I mean, I feel as though with the way the league is set up, with basically like we have open range on transactions, except for getting the rookies. I think you still get to see the GM skills. But yeah, salary cap would definitely be fun and more interesting. But it would keep a lot more parity with the teams. Um, but to go with something a little bit more realistic, I would say structurally, I would think we would have to I would say get rid of our dead weight, our absolute dead weight, and bring in some more competition.
I think that's less. I think that's less
Really
realistic
hot
right there,
take.
man. That's less realistic. Man, it's almost like it's just like you gotta have the dead weight sometimes, man. That kind of just balances the league out. Cause I mean, somebody gotta lose, dude. I mean, unless you tie, and I mean, we don't really get ties. Somebody gotta lose games. Just happen to be some of them bottom of the barrel users. I think salary cap is definitely something that could be implemented to the league and bring more parity. There would be no more super teams. It kind of just be more user based. But some people can't deal with that, I guess.
Red made a joke about having Ball Hawk turned on. I'd love to see that too, but The argument's been made. People already throwing a lot of picks. We turned that on. We're gonna see crazy numbers for picks thrown.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. He turned it on for like 1 week, and there was a lot of picks.
Yeah, there was a week I didn't have a game either. I was salty.
Yeah. I didn't even know it was on either, man. Nobody said shit. It was just on for a week. It would have been nice.
Yeah, they ran the experiment on us.
Yeah, experimented without saying nothing. But I mean, yeah, I would love to have ball hawk on, but I understand why it's not on at the same time. So
Yeah.
it's just something you just got to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice something.
Red said himself during the offseason, the trade committee should take trades early so no one rushes them during your 10-minute sim each stage to the draft. That's honestly a fair take. I understand, not wanting everything to pour in at once, but I don't know.
It is gonna pull it, but if you,
It's going to happen either way.
But I think they should do it a day before we open it. Open off season. Since off season's all in one day, you could just open it the day before. You get the trades. Everybody want to make trades during the off season. I guess that's just a sweet time because everybody know where their picks are at. So I think it's better to just give everybody 24 hours to get trades in, to get approved or denied, compared to having like 3 hours to get all of it done. You jam packing everything, and it doesn't necessarily need to be.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take from Red.
That's a good idea.
So,
Red, I like it. I like it, Red.
Yeah, that's up to
Red might be our top fan right now.
man,
Thanks for supporting the show.
Red, you can make a donation if you'd like.
Yeah, man, I put on
I'll send you my Venmo. All right. Well, we've already hit 2 hours, guys. I know we initially talked about, having some conversations on the real life NFL offseason and NBA offseason, but I think that's something that we could save for a future episode.
Yeah, we is that. 2 hours and 6 minutes right now.
Yeah. So the episode has gone on for quite a bit, which is not a bad thing. I think we've had a great time. We've had a lot of good conversation.
Yeah, this was a great start.
Great start.
So we want to get this podcast episode uploaded on social media, more specifically YouTube, and then we want to promote it on our other platforms. A lot of that's still being worked on in the background, but this is something that we want to continue to build on as the Madden this season goes on and as we go on to next Madden. So we want to have future episodes. We would like to see some users, post highlights so that times we could do like top 5 highlights of the season and like show those during the stream. And this is something that we just want to build upon.
Right. And a special thanks to all of our league members that tuned in. Trey, Jeff, Shitty, Red, G Money, Ro, Wood, Shitty, and No Ski. If there's anybody else that tuned in and I didn't catch you, I want to say thanks to you too.
It's only the beginning, man. You can only go up, and that's what we trying to make it a quality product to the masses, man. Start to get an actual following from people outside of the league that might be just interested to see what goes on a sim-to-sim basis.
Absolutely.
No, I think we have a great product here, and if we promote it correctly, we can get other people to just be entertained by, seeing how the league operates and watching the games. So we have some of the most competitive users, I think, in Madden in general in this league.
Yeah, there's definitely potential to have a good following. And people just like, oh man, the Bro League game about to hop on, let me check it out. There's definitely an opportunity in that.
For sure.
Is there any other questions from people? I think that's...
No, that's it. If you want to sponsor us, hit us up. I think we're good. I think we're all good.
So you gotta support a black business. Man, I thought thought Ro told you Raven's not black, man. Thought we went over this already.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we are a very diverse group of Madden users, I would say. We got many nationalities represented.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody anybody feel like left out. I would hope not anyway. I hope nobody feel left out, so everybody could be comfortable to talk in the locker room or whatever and just shoot the shit.
Oh, special shout out to Shaymo.
My special shout out to Shaymo. Man, she ain't, man. Man, I'm telling she a fed, man. She be in the Discord not saying that she a fed.
I think she has D blocked.
Oh, she did? She blocked D?
No, I'm asking. Do you think she does?
I don't know. She gave him her the Instagram, so I mean, I don't know.
I mean, who wouldn't want a loyal follower?
Yeah. Like, Shay, when you gonna drop a photo, little photo for me, man? Come on, Shay.
Alright, we should probably stop. Alright, thank you everybody. Have a good night.
Yeah, everybody stay easy.